to the research station, Emo Agriculture Research Station 2020. Just standing here at the edge of our shop, just showing you sort of like what things look like today, which is July the 24th. And welcoming you as we're doing this virtual tour this year. Just as a quick overview, we moved to Emo in 1990 and we've been here ever since. As you hear me say every year, we're still experiencing some tile issues that we hope that we will slowly get repaired. We were cut back this year because of the COVID situation, so we have less trials and only one student. As for the year, it's been a pretty warm year, like not the warmest, but it's been a pretty decent year for temperature, and rain was actually a little slight there for a while, and now July we're just a bit above normal. And it's getting a little frustrating for everyone trying to make hay, because though we haven't been getting huge amounts the last little while, it's been raining every couple of days, and that makes you wonder if you should, keep cutting and stuff. So there's guys working on second cut now, but there's some beef guys that are not finished their first cut. So that's fairly normal for us though. And as you can see, the grain is actually starting to change color. So we were predicting an early harvest, and that probably will happen. So I hope you enjoy the virtual tour. Okay, so here we are looking at our malting barley variety trial here at the Emo Agriculture Research Station. There's actually 10 varieties in this. The trial is sponsored by NOFIA and GFO, Grain Farmers of Ontario. This is its third year, and we planted this trial this year on the 8th of May, and this was fertilized according to soil test. It's been sprayed with Bactrilem, and it's doing relatively well. There's some lodging, could be the variety, but it also could be we've had some heavy winds with some heavy rains lately too. I think this is its final year, and it's been a great project. A few extra counts and some extra soil sampling goes along with this trial, but all in all, it's been a very worthwhile project. So here we're looking at the second part of the malting barley project with NOFIA and GFO. This is nitrogen and sulfur on malting barley, and I'm going to just walk slowly through the plots. Just if you can visually see, there's plot differences because the nitrogen and sulfur are applied after planting and different rates. So you'll see that some of these plots look very difference in height and a little poor, and that just is because of this will be a check plot, no fertilizer at all. Again, it's doing well. The first year this project ran, we had it in an area of the station that had very poor drainage, and it was quite embarrassing, to be honest with you. So we've made a really good effort to put it in like one of the better spots of the station to ensure that don't happen, so that we can get good results for these partners. Again, planted on the 8th of May, sprayed with Bactrilem, and doing well. It was planted a little later than our variety trials, but it's doing well, and as you'll see, our barley's ripening, or starting to show signs of ripening. I think we'll have an early harvest here today. Just thought I'd include this clip. This is a plot of barley in the malting barley variety trial that has lodged quite badly. The biggest problem here at the station is our combine doesn't always pick this up properly. And last year we had such a wet fall. When we were able to get on the land to harvest, some of this stuff had started to sprout. It's something that we don't like to see, but we will do ratings on lodging and score of each of our plots that is available in all our data. So here we have the Barley Performance Trial, planted on the 4th of May. It has had fungicide. We sprayed once for weeds, and otherwise you'll see that it's like starting to mature quite quickly, and like I said in my other clip there, I think we'll have an early harvest. you can check out Go Cereals to see our last year's results. Next we have our Spring Wheat Performance Trial. Same deal, planted on the 4th of May. We fertilize with NP and K. We actually add very little K. The levels here are excessive. You can see the last year's results on Go Cereals, and we also just to make a note, we also do all straw measurements, weights on our performance trials as well. Next we have our Oat Performance Trial, again planted on the 4th of May. We are starting to see some birds in these plots, and I'm a little nervous because last fall we were extremely wet, and some of our plots actually were harvested by birds and deer. So I'm a little nervous about the pressure we're going to see this year in them because they had such a good harvest last fall. So we will be putting up some owls and stuff that we hope work, but we haven't had great luck, but we still try to make every effort to get something up to hopefully scare the birds away. Now we're moving into the Manitoba variety trials because of our proximity to the border, and we do have producers that source grain from the west. We're about 3 hours from Steinbach, so we've tried to grow the varieties that they may be sourcing out there. Some of them are similar to, or the same as the Ontario, but this is the barley, wheat. We generally have more wheat varieties from the west, and then as well the oats. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the birds are starting to visit the oats, so we're going to have to try to figure out a way to try to keep them out. I don't really like netting our plots, just simply because when you net, you end up killing and catching a whole lot of other creatures, and it's not always a fun mess to deal with in the mornings. You're now going to see some sunflowers that we are not really, this is more of a demonstration. We have planted for two reasons. One of our good friends from many years ago from the Rainy River Soil and Crop, Lyle Wheatley, really enjoyed growing sunflowers, and who doesn't enjoy looking at a sunflower field? But the other idea is that we are hoping that when we grow sunflowers that we'll attract the birds to this plot. And you can see, or you may be able to see, there's quite a few of them in there right now, and they're just starting to bloom. So that's the idea of this plot. I joke every year that we should charge $5 for a selfie, because we get lots of, and we may not this year because of the COVID situation, but we usually get lots of requests if people can come and take a picture in front of the sunflowers. If you notice a few blocks that were empty, it's because there were thistles in there, and I went in and chopped it with a mower and also sprayed some Roundup. So here we're looking at, we have 3 canola trials here. This is the one we're looking at right now, is phosphorus placement on canola. The canola growers locally pay a checkoff, and their association asked what some money could go towards to see some projects in Rainy River, and so these are the projects that we're doing. That one, the phosphorus one, the levels are fairly high there. We may not see much of a result. We're looking at a sulfur one here. Generally speaking, people in the Rainy River District apply a little bit of sulfur in their blend every spring. And the final one is boron. So same thing, the fertility levels are fairly high here, but we're hoping that we see some results. This is pretty much the end of the flowers. They're dropping now. There's a fair bit of pod set, and so far they're pretty tall, but so far they're staying upright. It can be tricky combining these with our little plots if they start to lodge and all tangle up, but so far they're looking pretty good. They were sprayed with Roundup. This is a Roundup ready canola. They were sprayed with Roundup once. So watch out. I'll publish the results, or have the results ready later this fall. So you're looking at a very pathetic soybean trial. Obviously you can see there's a fair bit of weed pressure that we have sprayed. We actually sprayed Roundup twice. But the biggest thing is the deer have been keeping these chopped off right pretty much to the ground. We've got it fenced now, and you may notice the sparkling disco ball. We're just trying every method to see if we can keep them out of the plots. I was just mentioning to my student this morning that this is July 20th today, and normally this is the week that we would have our open house. And these are normally kind of waist high, and you can see that they're not even halfway to my knees. But again, last fall the soybeans was a very poor fall, and I'm still counting on getting the soybeans harvested. Came back after the long weekend in Thanksgiving weekend, I guess in October, and literally there wasn't a bean left in the plot. The deer, it looked like a herd of cows had went through. So I'm afraid that they've had a really good taste, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with these beans, but this is the research station, so we try our best to do things as close as you can to a farm, but when you have little plots like this, they make a pretty big noticeable difference in the material. Here is just 3 varieties of field peas, and you can probably see some some flax mixed in there. That wasn't the plan, but this was a plot that didn't get harvested last fall, and of course the chemical that I used on the peas didn't kill the flax, so they're still staying upright, and they're looking okay, other than in between the plots you can see the flax. But this is from the Manitoba seed that is sent us, and so we have this little pea. But we are starting to see, well, I guess we've always seen, but there's been a lot more people putting peas in their silage mixture. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything different between these three varieties. There's peas on all of them now.